Educating ourselves and our younger people has been a common practice since prehistory time. As every discipline developed by humankind, education has evolved according to the transformations that all communities of the world have been through, and becoming one of the most important issues to be discussed, analyzed, and put into practice in the modern society. However, with all the interpretations and definitions attached to the act of educating, how can we be sure of what elements we should put into practice to generate an efficient and useful educative process? How do we make education work? To analyze this, first we need to define education. So, what does education mean?
Oh, that's easy. It's the transmission of knowledge from teacher to learner.
Well, kind of. That is a dangerous simplification of the concept, but we have something to start understanding. You'll see, when you say transmission of knowledge, you are assuming that the learner is a passive entity, a container that just is put into information by the teacher and keeps it forever. And that is kind of wrong. This was actually criticized by Brazilian educator and philosopher Paulo Freire, who called it the banking model of education.
Oh yes, Freire. He wrote this book called something about oppression and pedagogy.
I think you're referring to Pedagogy of the Oppressed, and you're right. This book, written by Paulo Freire in 1968, is one of the foundational texts of critical pedagogy. Now, critical pedagogy goes along the same way. In a nutshell, critical pedagogy encourages us to think as individuals and to enroll social and political critique into the classroom by using critical consciousness. As Paulo puts it, if we want to have free thinkers in our society, we must impulse the need for questioning the reality in our children.
All right, now I get it. We need to adopt some critical consciousness about education. But what alternative do we have to banking education model?
Right, some theories have responded to this concept of banking education. Among them, we have constructivist theory that, based on observations and scientific study, has proposed a way of learning that encourages students to use active techniques like experiments or real world problem solving to create more knowledge and discuss about it in a critical way.
Okay, so basically, if the students use this mechanism to train their logical and critical skills, it is like they aren't just learning, but they are learning how to learn.
Yes, you're right. If you see, that learning process is what constructivists could call the key to liberate the learner of the oppression Freire was talking about in his book. Now, the application of these principles in the practice may not be easy to achieve. However, the best way for you to really understand what constructivism means in your classroom is by seeing examples of it at work, speaking with colleagues about it, and trying it by yourself. Remember, keep in mind questions, discuss about the possibilities, and never stop being critical with about your work.